Wembanyama got ejected from Game 4, 18 points in 6 minutes in Game 5. A flagrant 2 elbow to Naz Reid's neck in the second quarter, 48 hours of suspension watch and composure debates. Then he returned home and scored 16 of San Antonio's first 24 points in his first 6 floor minutes. 27 points, 17 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks, 2 three-pointers. The first player in NBA postseason history to log that exact line in the three-point era. Every reaction post-Game 4 framed Game 5 as a discipline test. The chalkboard ran a different question. San Antonio answered it in 6 minutes of floor time. The story was never composure. The story was coverage. Let's start with the first 6 minutes of Game 5. Wembanyama checks in off the opening tip. San Antonio's first possession runs through his high post catch at the left elbow. He scores. Second possession, same action, he scores. Third possession, a weak side lift, three-pointer. By the time he sits down for his first rest, the line on the board reads 16 of San Antonio's first 24 points. 16 of 24. 66.7% of his team's opening scoring load. A typical star carries about 30 to 35% of his team's first quarter scoring load. 66.7% is more than double the league baseline. Wembanyama's Q1 final line, 18 points, tied with his playoff career Q high. That is not a hot streak, that is a design. Here is what San Antonio knew. Minnesota entered the series committed to one rule: double Anthony Edwards every time the ball stops in his hands. The Wolves were not going to let Edwards isolate against San Antonio's perimeter defenders, and 48 hours of Game 4 success had reinforced that rule. San Antonio's counter was structural, not personal. Every Q1 opening possession ran through Wembanyama's elbow catch before Edwards' man could shift weight to the strong side double. The Spurs were not asking Wemby to outscore Edwards, they were asking him to catch and decide before the rotation began. By the time Minnesota processed that the elbow needed help, Wembanyama already had 16 points. San Antonio already had a double-digit lead. This is what a pre-double early action looks like. The catch arrives at the elbow before the rotation can reach the strong side. The decision happens before the help. The bucket lands before Minnesota's scheme has time to update. 18 points in 6 minutes. The story was coverage, so watch the coverage. This is the play that broke Game 5. The Edwards doubled weak side high post pivot. The setup, San Antonio's point guard initiates. He delivers an entry pass to Wembanyama at the left elbow. The strong side wing sets a cross screen for San Antonio's weak side spacer. Now Minnesota has a problem. Edwards' primary defender is committed to the strong side trap. The weak side helper is 14 feet from the rim, chasing the cross screen. Naz Reid is one step toward Wembanyama and cannot commit. Wembanyama has 3 reads. Read 1, the elbow jumper, 15 feet square to the rim. Read 2, the drop step drive. Baseline against the tagging big who is 12 feet behind the play. Read 3, the weak side skip pass to whichever shooter Minnesota's rotation has abandoned. 3 reads. Minnesota has no clean answer to any of them. This is the geometric problem of the must-double Edwards rule. The Wolves chose to honor Edwards every possession. That choice forced their weak side defender into a job that contradicted itself. Honor the double or honor the 7'4" shooter at the elbow. The defender chose neither cleanly. Wembanyama's final line tells you which read he took when. 27 points came from the elbow jumpers and the drop step drives. 5 assists came from the weak side skips. 17 rebounds came from the missed shots his pivot generated. 3 blocks came from the transition his offense created. And the 2 three-pointers. 2. Those existed only because Minnesota eventually broke the Edwards double, which is exactly what San Antonio's chalkboard was waiting for. The first player in NBA postseason history to log that exact 5-category line in the three-point era, 27, 17, 5, 3 blocks, 2 threes. Here is what makes the line historically rare. 3 names exist in NBA postseason history with a 25, 15, and 5 statistical line at age 22 or younger. Name 1. Magic Johnson, 20 years old, 1980 NBA Finals, Game 6, 42 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists. Magic played center as a rookie because Kareem was injured. He did it from the post in slow tempo. Name 2. Luka Doncic, 21 years old, 2020 playoffs, first-round triple-double against the Clippers, 43 points, 17 rebounds, 13 assists. Doncic did it from the pick and roll against a single defender in a bubble on a Clippers team that had no clear scheme answer. Name 3. Victor Wembanyama, 22 years old, 2026 conference semifinals, Game 5 at home, 1 game after his Flagrant-2 ejection, 27 points, 17 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks, 2 threes. 3 names, 3 eras, 3 different mechanisms. Magic's anchor was opportunity. The Lakers needed a center on the floor. He scaled to it. Doncic's anchor was matchup. The Clippers had not solved his pick and roll. He punished it. Wembanyama's anchor was scheme. Minnesota had publicly committed to a binary defensive rule. San Antonio's chalkboard built the answer before the game tipped. That is the difference. Magic was the first. Doncic was the second. And Wembanyama is the first of those 3 to walk into a playoff game with the line written on a chalkboard before tip-off. The numbers are equivalent. The mechanisms are not. Once-a-decade talents produce 25, 15, and 5 nights through their own gravity. Wembanyama's was produced by a play call. That distinction is the entire reason Game 5 looks different from the other 2. The story of Game 5 was never composure, it was coverage. San Antonio designed the first 6 floor minutes around Minnesota's stated defensive rule. Every opening possession ran through Wembanyama's high post catch before the Edwards double could rotate. The Steel Man. He is a generational talent. He played angry at home, a great player on a playoff stage, produces a great line. 27 and 17 is what he can do on any given night. Wembanyama just outplayed Minnesota on emotion in home court. The Steel Man cannot explain the 6-minute distribution. 16 points in the first 6 floor minutes, with the team's other 8 points distributed across 4 different players, is a designed opening story. The chalkboard does not let one player monopolize the opening 24 team points unless the team built the opening 24 around that player. Emotion is distributed across a quarter. A pre-double early action design is concentrated at the start. Every Wembanyama early bucket came off a high post catch where Minnesota had not yet decided whether to honor the elbow or honor the Edwards double. That is a scheme outcome, not a feel outcome. So here is the verdict. Minnesota walked into Game 5 with 1 defensive rule and 48 hours of conviction that the rule was correct. San Antonio walked in with 1 offensive design and a willingness to attack the rule before Minnesota could update it. 16 of the first 24 points came from the man Minnesota's scheme had explicitly chosen to deprioritize. By the time the Wolves broke their own rule to fix the leak, the opening lead was double-digit and Wembanyama's 2 3-pointers were on the board because the rotation had finally cracked. The chalkboard reveal has 3 reads, not 3 court zones, 3 decision points San Antonio engineered into every opening possession. Read 1, the pre-double early action. The catch arrives before the rotation. Minnesota's scheme is structurally 1 beat too late. Read 2, the high post pivot, the 3-way decision tree. Shoot the elbow, drive the closing big, skip the abandoned shooter. Minnesota has no clean answer. Read 3, the weak side 3, the punctuation. 2 3-pointers existed only because the Wolves finally broke the Edwards double, which is exactly what San Antonio's chalkboard was waiting for. 3 reads, 3 answers, 1 rule Minnesota could not break in time. Game 6 is in Minneapolis. Minnesota gets the chalkboard back for 48 hours. The question they have to answer is simpler than the one San Antonio just answered. Do the Wolves keep the must-double Edwards rule and lose the elbow again? Or do they trade it for something that respects the 7'4" shooter and free Edwards in the process? They cannot do both. Whatever Minnesota picks, San Antonio's pencil already wrote the counter. Next episode of Chalk Tactics, we find out which rule survives the trip home.